So, unpack your heart. So, I just love that song. So, my question, I have a bunch of questions today. You know, it's so funny. So, Thursday nights, I teach this class, Advanced Consciousness Studies, and it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. It's because it's nothing I've ever taught before, and I am asking 20 brilliant minds, all practitioners, most of them ministers. I'm asking them to question everything they know, to not just accept what we've been accepting our whole lives, but to question it. So, when I get to this talk this Sunday, I'm reeling off of this Thursday's class where we're talking about quantum physics and consciousness and mind and the truth. And my mind is your mind still a little bit reeling? It just does that. And I got calls that night. Reverend Jonathan Zenz called me and went, I am driving home and I feel like I should drive to the beach and swim or something and just get all of this out of my head to just try to figure it out. So I have a question. I have lots of questions today. So where do you go? Where do you go, Tiffany? Where do you go, Eric, Connie? Where do you go, Daniel? Where do you go when you have a challenge? Where do you go with your troubles? Where do you go with your worries, your doubts? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? Is it a person? Do you have a person to talk to? Is it a place? Do you have a place where you go? Where do you take everything that's going on to process or to understand? A best friend, a confidant? So this song is called Unpack Your Heart. To unpack means to remove something from a suitcase, a bag, or a package. And I know it seems silly to give you a definition for unpack, but I want to read it again. To remove something from a suitcase, a bag, or a package. So if I'm going to unpack my heart, I'm going to remove something from my heart. Now, in order to unpack my heart, I must have already decided that I've already packed it, that it's already there. Something's already there. There's a lot going on in my heart. And for today's talk, I'd like to make our heart really be our mind. So when I ask you this question, this next question, I want you to think about your heart, but I want you to think about your mind too. And it's this, Eric. What's in your heart right now? You don't have to answer me. Answer to yourself. And this is for all of you. What is actually in your heart today? What's in your mind today? And if we're going to unpack it, how? How do we first recognize what's in there? Then how do we decide what to unpack? Kevin's not here today because he's in Palm Springs with Alan Marcy Welland looking at their brand new house. It's completely empty. It has nothing in it. It's just this pure state of pure potentiality, which really is what consciousness is all about, right, Tiffany? So they're at this place, this purely empty place. They don't have to unpack anything. Oh, yes, they do. They have to unpack everything they bring. And then they have to put it into the house. So when I ask you, what's in your heart? Sort of like, what's that? What credit card is that? Capital? What's in your wallet? What's in your heart? What is in your mind today? What exactly is working through you right now? So your heart, your mind, also your memory. So I want to do a little exercise. I want you all to close your eyes for a minute. Just close your eyes. If you're at home, if you're driving, do not close your eyes. But anybody else, please close your eyes. Now take a deep breath. And all I want you to do is focus on that breath for a moment. Just give it your attention, okay? Now just become aware of your breathing. That's all. That's all there is your breathing. Now another deep breath. Now when you're ready, open your mind, open your eyes, and pay attention to what comes back first. What's on your mind right now? The idea that you could empty your mind is a fallacy. You can never empty your mind. Can you focus on something else? Yes. Can you put your attention somewhere? Yes. Everything goes to the sides. So when you took the deep breath, and when you're just focused on your breath, everything goes to the sides. And then you come back. What's the first thing that popped up into your mind? What came back? That is your mind unpacking itself back into that place that you call your conscious mind. That's why we meditate. We meditate so we can focus on something in order to let everything subside. But then we can't walk around with our eyes closed, paying attention to our breath at all times. Do you know what that would look like? It would look kind of nuts if everybody's walking around going, first of all, I'd fall. Second of all, I could get nothing done. But I'd be pretty much in a nice state of emptiness, focusing on my breath. But then what's coming back? And that's what I want you to pay attention to this morning. I want you to pay attention to the thoughts that come back to you. I want to pay attention to what takes over your mind. Because whatever comes back, that's you unpacking back into the mainstream of your thinking. So, I want to look at the mind and the heart. I have another question for you. As I said, lots of questions today. Why do you think what you think? Why do you think, Adam, what you think? Tiffany, why do you think what you think? Your mind's not thinking the same thing Connie's is thinking. It might be, briefly, for a second, but I doubt it. All of us are thinking different things. Why do I think what I think? If my thinking is what creates the trajectory of my life, why do I think what I think? Now, if you're my student, you already know the answer to this, and it's your beliefs. Because you're thinking based on your beliefs. You cannot think thoughts that are not based on your beliefs. And people have tried to argue this with me, and they say, no, but what if somebody says something, and I think about it, I say, you're thinking about what they said from your beliefs, period. In fact, you'll think what they said means something different than this person thinks, because they believe they mean this. You believe they mean this. So why do you think what you think? Because you believe what you believe. Now, can you choose what you think? Daniel, can you? Okay, Daniel thinks you can choose what you think. Eric, can you choose what you think? Yes. Okay, Connie? Okay, Connie's was not as certain a yes. Can you choose what you think? Well, only to a point, to be honest, because you can only choose what you think, again, based on your beliefs. Because your beliefs aren't going to let you choose something that is diametrically opposed to what you believe. It just isn't. I was just talking to Daniel about someone we both know who couldn't possibly choose a different side in a political race because they know this so fervently, they're not willing to listen to anything on the other side. And I'm sure the other side has the same thing going on, which is why I love independence, real independence, that actually give it all some thought. So, can you choose what you think? Now, here's the bigger question. Can you choose what you want to believe? Can you choose what you want to believe? And the answer is a resounding yes. And here's why and here's how. When we talk about unpacking my heart, there is a very tried and true way of noticing what's going on in my life, backing it up to a belief, and then deciding whether that belief is helping me. That's what we do in Science of Mind. It's very simple, really. It's much simpler than you think. If my life is this out here, I ask myself, why? How did I get here? What do I believe that got me here? And then I decide, do I want this or not? But go back to that exercise. I take a deep breath, I close out everything, I move it all to the sides, and then I choose. You know, when I asked you what came back, you probably thought I meant something came back on its own. It doesn't. It doesn't come back on its own. We bring it back. We call it back. Something in us calls it back. What do you think that is? Your belief. Your belief calls it back. So, can I change my beliefs? Absolutely. John Maxwell says this, life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. Every choice you make makes you. It's interesting. I know I started today with the Dodgers, but to be full disclosure, I did not watch the Dodgers game last night. I was watching Funny Girl with Barbra Streisand because it seemed more in nature to what I wanted to watch last night. And I haven't watched it in 20 years. But I was interested in whether or not the Dodgers won, which I got right after the movie when I took the dogs out. I said, "How'd the Dodgers do?" And my neighbors were like, don't ask. And then when Kevin called to say goodnight, I said, "How'd the Dodgers do? I hear they didn't do well." And he went, "Don't ask." I was like, well, now I've got to ask. What happened? And he told me the whole story, and I had this whole metaphysical understanding of it. So if life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you, then obviously we get to choose. But we don't get to choose our destiny. We get to choose what creates our destiny. So when you are unpacking your heart, unpacking your mind, when you are, which is what I was leaning Connie towards, if Connie has all these things going on, what has to happen is there has to come a moment when all these things going on in her life need to be put on the sidelines. And it's called spiritual practice. And this is really the message I'm getting at for this entire service. There is something in you that already knows. There's something in you that already believes. There is something in you that is you that already has the answer to everything. And that something is that very essence of your God self. We say God self. I think that's going to evolve itself out soon. But right now we know what that means. That highest self. So if I'm going to choose what I want out of my life, if I'm going to make choices, I better pay attention to what beliefs are creating the choices I'm making. We all think we're doing this just willy-nilly. We're not. Or we think we're doing it on purpose, exactly. But if we don't get back there and find out what's causing me to choose what I choose, what causes me to think what I think, what causes me to believe what I believe, what causes me to make the choices I make, it's not because there's some amazing power somewhere making my life happen in a certain way. There is that in you that knows. So the title of my talk today is Unpack Your Heart. Now here's something funny. All through rehearsals, Adam and I have worked on this for 2 days. So I kept singing accidentally, instead of Unpack Your Heart, I kept singing Unlock Your Heart. And every time I did it, Adam went, "It's pack." And so I kept trying to, and I actually didn't sing lock once today, which I did in rehearsal this morning. So I had to ask myself, why did my mind keep telling me to unlock my heart? Other than the fact that that's probably what I would have called the song. But why did my mind keep saying, unlock your heart, as opposed to unpack your heart? Well, I gave that some thought, and I realized that there are parts of me that perhaps are locked away. And I would invite you to take a look and see if there are parts of yourself that you've locked away. If there are parts of your reactions that you've locked away. Which means to me, you haven't addressed it. You haven't dealt with it in such a way that you would be able to resolve it, absorb it, move on beyond it. So that's my next question to you. What have you locked away, and maybe thrown away the key even, that's still there, still working? Something you lock away doesn't care that you've locked it away. It's still in this thing called your individual mind, the mind that uses the consciousness of the universe. So what is inside of you that you're not owning up to? What's inside of you that still is asking you, begging you to unpack it? First, open the door and take it out and look at it and say, I'm either ready to discard this, or I'm ready to embrace this. Or I'm just ready to understand it and ask it, how best can I use this in my life? So this whole month has been about love only. It's a funny story, and most of you know the quote, which is usually in our meditation room. I was up at Casa de Maria getting ready to do looking at the space for a retreat. And while we were there, I didn't know if I wanted to be at Casa de Maria because it was a Catholic place. It had all these Blessed Mothers all over the campus and all these crucifixes everywhere. But there was something drawing me to it. And I went and laid under a tree. And this is all in my new book, by the way. I went and laid under a tree. And all of a sudden, this thing came to me. And it was, bring me your heart. I will hold it for you. And even when I say that, it does something to me. Bring me your heart. I will hold it for you. And this morning I thought, bring me your heart. I will unpack it for you. Now just think about that. Doesn't it get you? Bring me your heart. I will be willing, just like in the song, I want it all. I want it all. Bring me your sorrow. Bring me your pain. Bring me your beauty. Bring me your fear. Bring it all to me. I will unpack it for you. Not just hold it for you. I will unpack it, put it on your bed, and ask you, do you want to take this with you or not? That's what this is all about. This is what you get to do as a divine human being. Put that out there and say, do I want to take this with me into my life? And if I don't, it doesn't mean pack it up, put it in a closet and lock the door and throw the key away. It means maybe I'm done with it. How about if you give it away? How about if you just let it go? Let it be absorbed. That's what this thing inside of me is asking me to do these days. And I have to say it really is a result of this Thursday night class. Bring me your heart. I will hold it for you. Who's the I? That's my next question for you. Bring me your heart. I will unpack it for you. Who's the I? Do you still go to that place of something, some God, some statue somewhere, some Blessed Mother, some whatever? I don't think so, most of you. But what is the I? Do you recognize that I as you? Because that's what's starting to happen for me in such a profound way that when I say things like, give me your heart, I will unpack it for you, I'm reminded that there is something inside of me, as Ernest Holmes said, that is bigger than I am, bigger than what I think I am, bigger than who I know myself to be. And not only can I use it, but I am it. And its power, its energy, its creative force, this consciousness of the universe that is constantly filling me up, it can take me anywhere I want to go. And it can lighten my load because I can just take a deep breath, put my focus right there, let everything fall apart, and trust and know that the next thing that comes before me, I have the power, I have the destiny in front of me to choose exactly what I want to do with it. That is very, very powerful. Ernest Holmes said this: love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel that it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. He says, love heals, love forgives, and love makes whole. I started this talk by asking you, who do you go to? Who do you go to in the world when you want to unpack your heart, when you want to unpack your mind, when you want to talk about something that's going on? Who do you go to? I'm happy to say that I've had someone for 32 years that I go to. You know, when you find your soulmate, that's someone that you can go to. And it's important, and it's powerful, and it has saved me so many times. Honestly, I don't know how either of us would have gotten through losing a child without the other to lean on and to bring whatever we need to bring to. And while this is oh so important that you have those people in your life to talk to, I would like to suggest what is even more important is that you have yourself to talk to. That when you say, bring me your heart, I will hold it for you. I will unpack it for you. You recognize, you start to really powerfully recognize there is something inside of you. There is that you are that you haven't even begun to scratch the surface of. There is a divine energetic field of pure wisdom. Connie said it earlier. Pure wisdom, pure intelligence, pure knowing. And you know what else? Pure love. That creative force, that substance that surrounds us, that is who we are. It's right here. I don't need to go that far to find the truth of what I need to know in any given circumstance. I am so happy I have Kevin, and I have the friends in my life that I have. But at the end of the day, they're all just a representation of who I am. And I am a representation of who each one of those people are. So I want to conclude today by saying to you, we have just spent an entire month of love only. And it's been a great month for me. I have been editing my book, The 5 Questions, and lots of emotion has come up doing this. I realize now why I put it aside for so long, because I probably wasn't ready to write what I'm writing. And I have needed that thing in me that I could go to hold my heart, to unpack my heart. And if I didn't know that was there, what would I do? I think that's why so many people are in such despair, why people are so afraid, because they don't know. It's right there. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, focus on that breath, watch as everything falls away, notice what comes back. And then ask yourself to know what it needs to know, with whatever that is. This song was a great song for me to find. And I invite you, as you go through the rest of this month, which is not much longer, to just invite your heart to unpack itself. Pretend you're the Wellens, and you're in Palm Springs, and you've got this magnificent house that you've just built. What are you going to put in it? Clean your house, everybody. Just throw it all out. I love my saying, I know nothing, now what can I know? It doesn't mean I'm stupid. It means I'm willing to put it all aside and start knowing again from a fresh mind. So there you go. Your heart is unpacked. We have unpacked your heart today. As it says in the song, I will step into your darkness and shine the light. So all the light is shown, whatever, shown. And everything is out. You've got this beautiful new house. Now what are you going to put in it? What are you going to start packing into your heart? Where do you want to start? I have a suggestion. What if you started with I am God? What if you began by knowing who you are? And from that piece of information that you have just unpacked, that embodiment, watch what decides to show up after that. I guarantee you, it will be a much different heart than the one that you unpacked. Namaste.